Kat. Long time no see.
Long time no see. Finally.
Yes, yes.
Hi, Nurfatin. Hi.
Hi,
guys.
Rahima. I think we can wait for a few more minutes for Mimo to come in. Hi, Angelina.
Hi, Fatin, how are you?
Good, good.
Yeah,
Is it too early for you?
um it's around 8, so it's okay.
Okay.
It's not too early. Yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
How is everything?
Good, good. So Angelina, we will start first and then we will pass it to you.
Okay, sure.
Right. Cool. Thank you so
I
much.
think I might want to share my screen from here.
Right. Okay,
Like,
cool.
Sure.
Cool.
Okay. Right. Give me a second.
Hi, everybody. Let's wait for maybe 2 more minutes for more people to come and then we can start. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to give 2 more minutes for more people to come. If you have team members who are available right now, you can also share the Google Meet link to them. It'd be great to have team members as well. Dennis, long time no see. Are you in the field? If you're able to talk. Okay, not sure if Dennis will be able to talk or not. How about Rahima and Kat? Are you both in the field this week?
No, I'm in the office this week.
Right, right.
My colleagues are in the field. I
Oh,
think they'll
okay.
try to join. Yeah, they'll try to join.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, I'm also in the office the whole week, but whole week is meeting week.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Wait, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, hello Nina. Okay, I think I'm gonna start my time 8:35, so 1 more minute, and then we can start already. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. By the way. Hello, Sakwa. Sakwa is in the field, I think. So thank you so much for making the time, Sakwa.
Hi, hi.
Right, cool. I think we can already start right now. So thank you so much, everybody, again, for being here today on a Friday. So today is a special edition of our community call. So as some of you might already know and have attended before, we have a monthly community call, especially for our GainForest community partners. But this month it's a bit different and special as well, because we will also launch it's like a soft launch for the platform that we have been building, Bumicerts. And today's session, it will be divided into two parts. So the first part will be me, Fatin. Hi everybody, I'm Fatin, the community lead at GainForest. I'm from Malaysia, and we also have Satyam here, who's our software developer. And both of us will be, explaining and giving a bit more context and also a demo as well on Bumicerts. And then the second part of the session, we have Angelina here. Thank you so much, Angelina. So Angelina will be speaking more on tree data specifically and how it can drive restoration and also decision making based on her experience in the field as well as in the policymaking space. So thank you so much, Angelina. This is like Angelina's second time. So thank you so much for your support, Angelina. And I think Angelina is also part of the ecosystem and was introduced to us by the Hypersits team. So thank you so much. Cool. Let's see. Yep. So before we start, I just like to gauge a little bit, because I understand we're coming from different parts of the world, different time zones as well. So please share with us in the chat box, where are you joining us from? So if you can quickly write in the chat box where you coming from, that'd be great. So for me, I'm from Malaysia. So it's around 8:30-ish for me at the moment. So please feel free to share in the chat box, where are you tuning in from today? Oh, Adam is from London. Hi, Sikandar from Pakistan. Hello. Nice meeting you. Hi, Sakwa in Uganda. Hello, Eric from Germany. Diego, Mexico. Kath, Philippines, same time zone as me. Rahima in Tanzania. Cool. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Right. So a little bit of house rules before we start, so that we will all have a great time for the next 1.5 hours. So number one, please keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking. At the same time, feel free to turn on your camera to say hi. I would love to see your face. And the third one would be, please get involved, ask questions. You can also put in the chat box, or if you want to ask something, you can also raise your hand. So, and also we will allocate some time for Q&A as well. Oh, thank you so much. Next. Oops, sorry for that. Right. Before we go to it was a bit of teaser just now, the launch video. We really want to first thank these people who have been part in this journey with us. So this is the platform, Bumicerts, that we have been building for the past months. And of course, number one, we would like to thank our local communities who are part of the GainForest Community Partner Network, who have been co-designing this technology with us. Thank you so much. I think some of you are also here, and some also we have met on the ground in your respective sites. So thank you so much for having us and co-designing this with us. And even in the video later, you will be able to see some snippets of what's have been happening on the ground. And also, I think we also have our tech partners here who have been building alongside us, for example, Hypersearch and Earth. So thank you so much for doing this alongside us. And of course, I think we also have supporters here who have been backing our work. For example, Angelina here today, who is also speaking, and this is the second time she is supporting our community calls. And I think a lot of you as well here also are supporters. So thank you so much. So with that, I would like to show you the launch video, and hopefully you can get a little bit of gist of, who is this for and what is this for, basically, and the big why as well. Cool. With that, I'm gonna go to the next one.
Fatin, are you sharing the video?
Yeah.
Are you sharing the tab yet?
I think you might not be sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. I was sharing and I was watching the video by myself. Sorry. Right. Thank you for that, Shafi. Right. Okay. Let's redo this. It was like very anticlimactic, but okay. So yeah, this is the video. I hope you can hear.
Our team at GainForest is returning to the Amazon to co-create and prototype a new nature finance mechanism that is built on data sovereignty, on community co-design, and is built on technology that allows local first communities to report their impact. And so we call this a Bumicert.
Bumi means the earth in Southeast Asian language, and certificate is basically certs. Currently, 80% of remaining biodiversity are actually located in the territories of local and also indigenous communities. However, only 10% of the conservation funding in the whole world actually goes to these territories and also people like them. The environmental certifications that we have globally, they require high standards, a lot of equipment, and usually it's quite expensive. Therefore, Bumicerts really try to meet where the communities are. Essentially, the capacity building and also the tools that we have provided to allow communities to actually collect data, for example, through Taina, whereby they can log a lot of species that they actually know through their own local knowledge, and also the audio moth, where they can get some soundscapes of their areas and also land. So all of this data, they will all go into this one certificate or impact certificate called the Bumicerts.
Every Bumicerts is like a book. So when you start the book and the pages are empty and you want to tell all the story behind the book to show it to everyone else, you want that book to be in a very, very, very safe place. And you want to know that this book will belong to you.
One of the most interesting thing about Taina is how she's capable of logging the data of each animal based on their location, the sound they make, and the time of the day. It's also extremely nice that all of the data is located here. In a Raspberry Pi, which is owned by the community, they decide how it is going to be shared and what is going to be shared.
All of this data will appear in a public evidence timeline that would allow people to see is impact visualization. The second part of the certificate or Bumicerts is actually the funding part. So hopefully funders can discover and will be able to support these amazing projects and trust.
The GainForest app will launch with the community here at Parques das Tribos, and we're designing a new way to finance nature
Da apresentação da inteligência artificial. A gente instalou os dispositivos, a gente mandou dados para a inteligência artificial, fotos de plantas, animais. E esse foi só um primeiro passo para a introdução de tecnologia, inteligência artificial para o povo indígena, para os povos ribeirinhos.
They can advocate for their land stewardship and also rights, and at the same time maybe it will open collaborations with academia or even local governments. A Bumicert is basically an environmental impact certificate that will allow communities to prove their stewardship and the fact that they have stewarded an area or a land for a long time, and they have such deep local ecological knowledge of that place and the species in it.
Based on respect of nature, of the communities, and co-design, making sure that the data is where it's stored here locally first. And we're, as a team, super excited to present you this next step of GainForest.
Right. Cool. Okay, that's the launch video for today. Let's see. Right. So just a little bit of context for those who are probably new or for the first time you're listening to what Bumicerts is. So basically it's a platform for people, organization doing environmental work on the ground. You know, you could be doing different kind of projects. It could be a community group or in indigenous communities or a local nonprofit even. But these are like some criteria of a good fit to kind of like see if your project is a good fit for Bumicerts or not. So the first, if you are restoring forests, wetlands, or even farms when it comes to agroforestry. I know some of you are doing agroforestry. And also if you're, planting or monitoring trees, protecting habitats and wildlife, and some of you are doing also community climate adaptation programs and activities in your respective areas. And I understand, I know some of you here who are actually doing environmental education work, and some of the community, like we have seen from the video, which is Parques das Tribos, they are also more like traditional stewardship of their area, right? But in terms of like not a good fit for Bumicerts, number one, if it's just a desk work only project, and then second, if it's like an if you have like a very unclear activities which might happen. And of course, if you don't have any evidence or any impact data or any photos or any notes, right? And we also don't accept one-off activities with no follow-up. And most importantly, if the project harms nature or ignores the community rights, then it's not a good fit for Bumicerts. And lastly, just to mention out publicly here that most of the data on Bumicerts are actually public. So if someone is trying to upload sensitive data, then that should not be it, right? So again, just letting you all know that the whole idea of Bumicer is to make this environmental impact data public. Cool. Next we will go to the real thing, which is the demo itself, and it will be led by Satyam here, our software developer. So Satyam, maybe I'll pass it to you.
Yep. Hello, everyone. This is Satyam. We have been working into developing this GainForest app, which I'm about to share. Is my screen visible?
Yes, now.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Okay. So first of all, yeah, I do not prefer dark mode here, so I would switch to light mode. Yep, it's much more comfortable now. Yep. So Fatin, that was a great job for the introduction to the GainForest app, aka the Bumicerts app. Um, Okay, so yeah, this platform has basically two sides. It's for you as a nature steward or an organization. You can showcase your regenerative work, and the other side is the for the project funders. They can look at your data, your work that you've been doing, and they can fund accordingly to your project. um, like if I scroll down, there's some more info about how we work, how we operate, how we are built on an open network, and how we interoperate with other applications such as Earth and more apps such as Silvi coming soon. So everything that we do here is like 100% interoperable with other apps as well. So I would like start by signing in. So I would enter my email, which is satyam@gainforest.net, and I would hit continue, and I should get an OTP, which is like um, which is just so that you can sign in quickly. So yeah, I would enter my OTP. Yep. So as I told you about Earth, if you already have an account on Earth, you can still sign in with the same account. If you do not have one and you create one here, you can still be able to sign in on Earth with the same account. So everything works interchangeably, and works just works out of the box. Okay, so I'm here for the first time, so it's asking me to set up my profile. So I would click continue, and this should take me to my page where I would be able to set up my name, my profile basically. Yep. So my name is Satyam, and I am a pretty cool guy, which is truth, by the way. And I can also add images like my avatar or banner as well, and click continue, and this should create my profile for me. Yep, that's it. So right now, if I go to my Earth app, like yeah, this is my Earth app. Yeah, so my bio and my name, they update as I do the changes on my app. And if I do any changes here, they would also be available on my like GainFirst account here. Okay, yeah. So the next things here are um available from this this user menu from in this top right corner. If I click it, I should be able to see all the organizations I'm part of. So if you already have an organization on my Earth, you should be able to see the same organizations here, and you can like uh, dive deeper into your organizations and manage their projects and anything. So if you are already a grantee of a Earth round one, round two, anything else, you should still be able to use our app and see all those projects and project updates as well. And any pushes that you make there would also be visible here. So yeah, I would like to now move on to observations. To tell you more on observations and how they work, like in general, I would ask Fatin to take over from here.
Right. I think for those, just attempt to just go back a little bit regarding Mar Earth. So just letting you know, there is also another app that Satam has mentioned, which is basically using the same technology as us. So it's like signing up whenever you sign up for GainForest .app or Mar Earth, it will be the same account. And right now, Mar Earth is actually doing a funding round where they have selected grantees that will be part of their funding round. So basically here, and if you are part of the Mar Earth funding round in the moment, we're basically saying that you can also use GainForest to do your updates or to add some data for your project. Yes. So yeah, just letting you know there that this is possible. So yeah, thank you, Satyam. So the first feature that we would like to introduce to you here is basically the observations, which is basically for biodiversity observations, right? So I think I would like to invite all of you to also start thinking about the different projects that you're doing at the moment. You know, if it's related to biodiversity observations, then we will later see how you'll be able to use this particular feature to collect biodiversity observations data. So go back to you, Satya.
Okay, yeah, thanks Fatin for a cool explanation on what observations are. Now I would like to just start a demo about how we can add observations. I can click like add observations button here and it should bring me up a pop-up, and I can drag and drop my images or choose my images from my Explorer. I visited a national park like 2 days back, so I have some images from there. Maybe I should try to upload them. Yep, these are the two. So yeah, as you can see, the images are being uploaded, and as AI has started to kick in and trying to identify the images that I uploaded. So yeah, it would fetch any information that it can already extract from the image, for example, the date, and it can generate data based on the image. As you can see, it's like generated the species name for this image of tiger. Um, this point, like this is the perfect point where your expertise comes in. If you have any local on ground community members who like know more about this particular species, that can like who can help adding more context to this data, this is super helpful. This makes the platform like more valuable because the data is correct, and yeah, it's well verified and all. Yep, so that is it. I think the images have been recognized correctly here. Orialis orialis and Panthera tigris. Okay, yeah. Um, Another thing is location. So it also tries to fetch the location based on your image. It's geolocation metadata. But if I want to change the location, I can also select this location button and choose a location. For my case, I click these pictures in Nahargarh biological park. So if I search for this, yeah, I found one. Yep, this is the location. I can verify it from the satellite view. Yep, this is one, and I can use this location for this particular observation. Next thing, I can also attach it to a project if I have one. Projects are something which we are going to be talking about later in the session. But I don't want to connect it to a project for now. I would skip this one. Then there is hide my exact location, because so the thing is, some communities do not want to like share the exact location. They want to be private about their location. So you can use this feature and you can select one of these three options to have a like a blurred sort of approximate radius around that real location. So yeah, you just get an approximate location here. Yeah, so I would choose a balanced. I think this one is good, and I would click add to observations, and it would start adding these observations to my account one by one sequentially. Meanwhile, Fatin can, yeah, let you know more about another type another way to upload observations. Yeah. Meanwhile,
Yes, cool.
I'll yeah set up my screen share. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Satam. Just to also add regarding the hide my exact location. So this is, a feature that we have been, like we got some insights from communities. So different communities, I guess, have different preference and also use case. Some of them do not want for the specific location to be public. So that's why we have this part where you can put like an approximate, or maybe you put it a little bit further, the pinpoint a bit further than where you actually found it. And I think some also have concerns regarding extraction and stuff like that, right? So this is where we're coming from basically for this one. Right, cool. So this is the first way people can add their biodiversity observations. And today we are also showing you the second tool that is embedded here on the Bumicerts. You can find it on Bumicerts, which called Taina. So I think in the video, some of the people who are talking did mention Taina. So after this, Satyam will show you how Taina works.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
this
Thanks,
is Taina.
Fatin.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Fatin. So Taina is our Telegram field companion, which can help with your day-to-day like adventures, and you find something you want to like just save it as an observation or something. So yeah, the way to set up is like very simple. You can just get started with it within minutes. Um, Basically what you need to do is follow a set of steps that appear here, if you have not already set it up, and you would just need to verify your account and enter the OTP. That's it. You should be get it you should be getting it ready. And once you have your bot ready, as like I have it already here, Satyam's demo bot it is. So yeah, I can start to use it here. So I would hit start, and it's thinking. It takes a bit of time, and it replies you with a greeting, hopefully. Yep. So yeah, now I would like to upload one more observation that I forgot to like upload from here. So I would click this, I would choose photo or video. Similarly, if you are on field and if you are roaming around with your phone, you can just pull out your phone and take a picture from within the Telegram app, and try to upload it, and it should work. Yeah, this is the image. So let's try to upload this as an observation. Yeah, I would send this image to the bot, and soon it should be replying me with what would I like to do with this image. And yeah, that's how it works. Another thing that I wanted to share here is the audio feature. So if you do not like typing continuously, you can just use this audio feature, and yes, just speak to your bot and it will understand. Yeah, so jungle babblers again, and yeah, this is the correct identification of the species. This is definitely jungle babblers. Yeah, so I would like to publish this one, because it already knows that I have two observations there. So it asks me, do I want to publish this one as well? Same spot at Nahargarh, and when did I take it? So yes, I did take it like 2 days ago. Correct location, by the way. Publish it, and it should get started and start to do his job and try to upload it as an observation. Meanwhile, Fatin can while this happens, Fatin can tell you more on this. Over to you, Fatin.
Yes. So just letting you know that the first way of doing biodiversity observation is to just add it directly, which is a bit static, right? But with Taina, it's a bit more interactive, and we have also heard some insights from those who have used it, saying that it's very like educational as well, that people can use, and it's also very much inspired by the oral knowledge transfer by indigenous communities and also local communities, like how you would talk with your parents or your grandparents, right? So it's very much inspired by that. So I think all of us, those who are, especially those who are have their own projects or interested to do future projects, you can already think like in which project can I use Taina, right? So this is like an invitation for everybody to, after this session, let's all go back and try Taina. Yes, so Taina has answered, Satyam.
Yeah. So Taina has successfully published my observation. Another thing that I would like to mention here is that both Taina and Bumicerts apps support like multiple languages, so you can always like communicate in a different language. Same holds true for the Bumicerts app. You can always like change your language to a preferred one. Okay, so yeah, I just published an observation. So I think if I go to my profile, I should be able to see this observation if I'm like correctly. Yeah, I should be able to go to my um, personal profile and there should be observation for it. Yep, here's it. This is the jungle babbler here, and if I click into it, I should be able to see this page. I would hide this for a second. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is the like a brief view of the observation that I made, and I can like see a much more detailed view if I click this view observation page here. Yeah. So this is a much more detailed view. I can comment here. I can, if I want to rerun AI on this, I can even do that. And I can also edit some details if I like, if there was some mistake, like if it was a wrong location, or I wanted to add some more context to the image. Yeah, all those things are still possible. And you can also delete the siding if you think that it was a duplicate, or you do not want it to appear in your observations. Yep, my observations also appear on the public page here. So yeah, that proves it. um, yeah, so that was it on the observation side. But whatever, like the next thing, which is like even more important, is how would you like connect these observations to your project, because observations when tied to project might increase the value of the project. So let's say if I have a like a project here. So yeah, I have a demo project ready here, GainForest expedition. And yeah, this is a project that we made for demonstration purposes. If you already have a project in your Earth account or any other app anywhere, it would still show up here, and you can also attach data to it from Bumicerts app. Okay, so let me give it a try. I can go to the project, and once I'm at the project page, you can see that there's so much info here about the project. I can see the description. I can see at a glance stuff like about me. I'm a pretty cool guy, and I can also enable donations, which I'll be talking about in a moment. Here are all my observations. I can also add updates. um, yeah, updates is something which I would like to talk about here. So you can connect your observations to your project using updates. There are many more things other than observations that you can add, for example images, sounds, trees, or even files such as any reports, attendance reports, anything else that you have to back your project. For now, I have this observation, so I can click observation and I can choose any of these observations that I have. So let's choose this one, Aureolus. I think, yeah. And I would post an update, or I can also add like a caption to it. Yep. Like observed this in a national park. Yeah, I can post the update now, and it should be added. Yep, observe this in national park. And just to show you, if I refresh the page, it should be, it should still be there. Yeah, it's like two sightings, one species, and observed in the national park. And yeah, that's how this works. Another feature here is enabling donations. Like if you want to like support or like enable donations on your project, you can do this using the Bumicerts app. So all you need to do is just click the button and link a wallet. Wallet here means if you have a MetaMask wallet or a Rabi wallet or any other kind of wallet that's installed in your browser as an extension, or on your even on your phone, you would need to link your wallet. And once your wallet's linked, you can just set the status to open, so that you can receive donations on this particular project. We allow donations only in crypto for now, and our donations are different from Earth for now, because yeah, we do crypto, and there's this fiat and more. So yeah, that's it. You can enable donations from here. I guess that's it on project. I would like to hand it over to Fatin again for more info or anything I missed. Sorry.
Right. Thank you so much, Satyam, for the demo. So here I would like to very briefly share with you the existing two opportunities at the moment. So of course, we're just launching. We really want people to start trying the platform, and also Taina, for example, the app that is embedded in there. So we are opening two opportunities at the moment. So the first one is the BioBlitz Challenge. So this is an opportunity for all of you to just create an account on Bumicerts. You can either do the direct observations through the add observations feature, or you can also try Taina for this part. So as you can see, we've already done a pilot, and we have Park das Tribos, which is a community neighborhood, indigenous neighborhood in Manaus, Brazil. So they are leading this round, and of course we will have more rounds in the future, even next week. So yeah, I'm really hoping that all of you can try this out and try to participate. So that's the first one, the BioBlitz challenge. And then second, we also understand that some of you are, doing your own projects related to biodiversity. We are actually opening one, like a mini grant around $1K each, which is to finance audio moth recorders, and also support you in terms of capacity building for that. So if you are interested, you can start thinking about the work that you're currently doing, or maybe future project where you would like to use audio moth recorders, for example. So we have this opportunity out there. So you can click here, which is like, and one click apply, and you'll be able to actually create a project and write down what your project would look like and how that would utilize the audio moth. Right. So those are the two opportunities, open opportunities at the moment, and we are, inviting all of you to participate in both. Back to you, Satyam. And I think Satyam will, before we end this call and give to Angelina, we will share with you a little bit of some tips and tricks that we can do with Bumicerts platform.
Okay. Yep. I'm back. So yeah, this is our public organizations page. So this is a page where you can browse organizations on our platform. So the first thing that I see here is that we have a badge on organizations like trusted by Biome Trust, or trusted by Biome Trust and Sylvie as well. So we are excited to share that we are rolling out endorsements soon, so that multiple organizations can endorse each other, so that we build a better platform, which is like easier to explore and find trustworthy projects um, like on this app. Yeah, so just wanted to share this announcement with you guys. Another tips and tricks that we wanted to share. um, I would like to go to the organization, so that I can share you how we can like manage our organization and their members. So yeah, um, so this is the organization settings. I clicked here and organization and then settings. So this is a place where you can manage your organization members. So as you can see here, here's the list of all the members, and I can invite more members if you are an owner or admin of the account or of the organization. there should be an input where you should be asked to like enter the email of the user that you want to invite, and the person would get an email for accepting the invitation. And if they accept, they would need to sign in here, and they'll be part of the organization. That's how it works. And another thing that I wanted to share is data council. So if you have enough permissions in your organization, you can mark multiple people as data council. There would be a button here to add people as data council. So like when you add them as data council, they would show up here in the overview on the public page of the organization down here, data council. So I know you might be confused about what data council is about. So to tell you more on data council, I would like Fatin to take over again from here.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
I'd just like to share one of the biggest learning deploying our tech and also co-design with communities. And one of the things that we have learned is, of course, the way data is being used. As I've mentioned at the very beginning, most of the data that is being published here on Bumicerts are public. So of course, different communities or even community members have different way of, like deciding which data should be public, which data should not be public, right? So this is like one of the biggest learning, and we are also encouraging those communities who are using Bumicerts platform to also have their own data council, which are basically a group of people in your organization or your communities who will decide on how the data gets shared and also used. So we encourage, of course, a mix of voices such as women, primary knowledge holders like elders or leaders, and at the same time, some communities would like to have young people to be part of the council, right? So as you can see from the video in Pagtas Tribus, plenty of them are actually young people, and some of them are also part of the data council. So this is where it would be reflected, whatever data that is being reflected on Bumicerts, it should reflect how the community feels about the data. So yeah. So just like Satyam has shown, you can actually select members and add them to be a data council members. And we really encourage a lot of our community members who are using the platforms to hold internal meetings or discussions regarding on what kind of data should be shared publicly on our platform. So yeah, this is just some tips and tricks on Bumicerts. So I really hope you will try it. I'm very, very excited actually for this call to end later, and all of you can try it. We can also send the link to your email and also your in the big WhatsApp group. Right. Satyam, anything else you like to add? Yes.
Yeah, no thanks. I just shared the URL. One small thing that I wanted to share was, yeah. So yeah, I wanted to share this email invite feature. I won't be like demoing it really, but yeah, this is the input that you can add. You can just enter your email, like Fatin's email is fatin@gainforest.net. So yeah, I can send her an invite and she'd be getting an email. And similarly, add to data council features here. So if I like add Karma to the council, so he would be added, and I can see him on the overview page. Like if I, yep, Karma is also on the data council. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Cool. Thank you so much. I think right now we can spend like maybe 1 or 2 minutes if people have any questions or any feedback, clarifications. Feel free. Or if you think you are interested to use, for example, Taina for one of your projects, we also want to learn that. Feel free.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
My name is Amor from Salamayag Youth Collective for Forest in the Philippines.
Hi, Amor.
First of all, thank you for the really comprehensive presentations. Really interesting, no? I work with indigenous foresters in Mindanao, Philippines. And one of the things that we struggle with is finding the right platform to put the biodiversity data that we do collect in the forest. So the people that I work with, we are all are indigenous upland farmers, women and youth. So we are just getting to a point that we are comfortable to use technology. So that's the first question that I will ask. You know, introducing something like this within an indigenous context would be tricky, but it's okay. It's a process. No, it takes time. It takes accompaniment and everything. So that's one thing that I would put forward as something that we could reflect on. Um, for something like this in general, not just for my organization but for everyone. The second thing, um, when we create, when we put data in a platform like this, we are always trying to think, how are we going to optimize the use of all this data that we are putting in this platform? Because, for example, for us, we are doing it not just for biodiversity documentation, or not just for environmental education, but we are actually hoping to use this data, the stories that essentially we're putting together to lobby to the government, so for policy lobbying. So I was wondering if you have any thoughts in terms of how can we utilize, or make best use of the platform to support communities who are really um, advocating or lobbying, talking to government offices to show proof of concept. Like, look at what we are doing. This is what we are doing in the mountains. Please support the work that we do. How can we use it as a communication tool to amplify the impact on the ground? Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Amor. Wait. Right. Thank you so much, Amor. That's such a very deep insight, and I think it really also shows the essence of Bumicerts. And literally, this is the biggest why we're building Bumicerts. And one of it is basically what you have mentioned, which is how do we lobby something that is like packaged nicely, and it's able, like the data is being able to visualized, in one platform. Maybe like other people also can share like how they're doing this, but for us at Bumicerts, that is the main essence, which is to get all the data that you want to package into one project, and then this is something that you can bring and show to your local government, for example. Yes, so David is also sharing some experience with Oceanus Conservation regarding the cutting of mangroves in Caguait, and the fact that the mangrove data was being taken through a drone and visualized on our platform. This is where they actually showed to the local government that, okay, look, this is what you did.
Yeah, I mean, actually, we're also shipping this globe feature that we are still like building, but I think it should be okay to show now. So yeah, this is the globe feature, and this really like amplifies like the total number of projects, but this should be soon able to visualize all your tree data points on the globe. So this like really helps visualize the impact that you're having, based on your observations or the data that you have. I think David might have some better insights on this, but yeah, uh, yeah, that's why that's my thoughts.
Right.
Yeah, maybe the one thing that I can add is that it's really important to collect data. And the best part about our technology is that the data that you collect, you can right now, if you want to collect it, it's hosted on our servers. But at any moment you want to host it on your own servers, you can do so too. We're using a protocol called AddProto that allows local data storage. So you can, and it could be part of the grant that you apply. We can set you up with a local data storage. You just collect the data, it's stored on your local servers, and at any time you might need to use it, you can take it out. Again, Fatin's example with what Oceanus Conservation, when they collected the tree data and they didn't know the tree data will be one day useful for policy, but later as evidence for that mangroves were cut. This is a great example why every one of our communities should just start collecting data, even if you don't want to publish it. Keep it secret, have it as a legal backup, and one day you might need to have this to show the state of the environment that you have and how it's changing.
Right. Cool. Thank you so much, David and Satyam. Amor, I hope that answers your question. And of course, feel free to try it first, and
Yeah.
we can definitely go back and forth with the use case, you know?
Thank you, guys. Yeah, very helpful.
Cool. Thank you so much. I think that's it in terms of Bumicerts launched. So I'm really excited. So please do try it after this call and be part of the BioBlitz challenge. Right, cool. In that case, I would pass the floor to Angelina to talk more about tree data. So I think tree data is like one of the features that we are refining at the moment, and we will be adding it very soon. So it's like a teaser in a way for today's session with Angelina. So Angelina, to you.
Yes, Fatin, thank you very much. This has been a very insightful section. I really like, the China, the Bumicerts. I wish I could have the link myself also. I really want to go to the site and see what's all about and, navigating. I think this is really, really interesting and very innovative as well. Um, so I think this is really a great job. So I will share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. I don't know if people are able to see my.
We can see it, but it's not full screen.
Okay, you can see my slides. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm projecting from different screens, so
Yes, we can see it now. Full. Nice.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Um, And also, I'd like to say that thank you for having me here today. It's been a pleasure. I think this is my second time, and I truly enjoyed my first time with you all. And I think today is going to be an awesome day as well. I'm taking a case study from my own work in Yongwe National Park. It's in East Africa, within Rwanda. Yongwe National Park, it's one of those pristine national park that is part of the Albertine Rift, which is a biodiversity hotspot. So this is really an interesting work for me. So I try to fuse this into our talk today. Talking about tree data. What is it telling us? What decisions can we take from it? Whom can we approach? To transform our data into actions. So sometimes we need to know what we are collecting, what the information is, what is it telling us, and then the actions we could take from that particular data we've collected. So this is going to be a real information that is coming from a real place. So I'm just going to fuse all these into our talk today. Yeah, thank you all for having me today. So, someone might ask why tree data matters, right? I'm very sure that we're all dealing with some form of ecological work, restoration, or even agriculture, agroforestry. So we know how important a tree is to us. But, setting the pace and then setting the stage to say that I am just going to go in and collect information on trees or shrubs in my farmland, in my forest, in my restoration site. What is that tree information going to do for me? How important, how relevant is this to management decision, interventions, restoration? How important is this tree information that we collected, right? So basically, as we all know, these can support biodiversity monitoring and reporting. Then also this tree data can help us understand the forest structure, not just the biodiversity, what is inside the forest, the different species that are there, and they also are for our reporting purposes. But what is the forest structure? What does the forest look like? What are the tall trees, the intermediate trees, the trees that are in the canopy, the intermediate, the trees that are suppressed, the trees that are not even there or used to be there, but they're not actually there. So these tree information gives us an idea, a clear idea of what the forest structure looks, and that goes into management interventions. Then also tree data may help us to measure restoration progress, right? Most of the times when we say a place is recovered, we want to now begin to sort of think of recovery in the sense that the forest or whatever the situation that was has gone back. It probably went bad and has gone back now into its original position. That is hard to achieve, but we are able to track progress when we collect tree data, especially when it's a forest restoration project, right? Most of the times I would say that we are not necessarily able to restore a place to its how it used to be originally or how it used to be naturally before any disturbances happened. So for example, if you had wildfire in an area and then you go in with your restoration strategies, definitely you will get some successes, but not necessarily getting back to how it used to be originally. But then the tree information from that specific place is able to tell us how we have progressed over time. And then also, it also guides us management interventions as well. Obviously, once you get to know what the tree information is telling you from your analysis, you are able to guide directions or sort of ascertain what should be done in a specific area. And then again, these information can go into supporting policies and then investment decisions. We want to know what is there, what is not there, what should we focus on, and what should not be the focus as well. So we'll try to go into a little bit into a case study that I've already mentioned already from Yongwe National Park. But before then, when an area is disturbed, just take an example from wildfires. And then you want to go in. I like these photos very well, very much. I took them from Rwanda. You want to go in to restore the area. The first thing you might need to consider is your baseline assessment, right? You want to know what what the area used to be. If you have that information, you have the history of the place, that would be excellent. Because having the history of the place, what the land use was, that's like really an excellent, kind of tell what the place used to be like, what it is now, and then what you could project or sort of gauge at in the future. Because if you do not have an idea of what a place used to be, it's really going to be very hard to try to restore it. To restore it to what, right? So that's what we want to focus on. But then it will be interesting to also start to know the baseline assessment. You go to a site and there's been fire, there's been logging, there's been mining in the past. It would be interesting to know what the stem density looks like, what tree height looks like, the basal area. I would not really go into details on that, but basically, the cross-sectional area that a tree is occupying per unit area, right? So you can have very small trees that is occupying the entire space, or you can have very big trees, but a few also occupying the entire space. So what is it that you see on the field as you go and collect your baseline assessment, or you do your baseline assessment? Your seedling density, you want to know the tiny or the little seedlings that are coming in, the species, what kind of species are they? So it kind of give you an idea of what the future might look like in the forest, right? If we are all grown-ups and then we have babies just around the same age, we can tell the kind of future we are all going to have when the old ones are out. So if you have specific species, maybe you have 3 different species, 10 different species, 20 different species in the understory or among the seedlings, you can tell the future of that forest if they should survive. So these are very important tree data to collect. Not necessarily focusing on only what is in the canopy or the big trees, but also the smaller ones that are going to replace the forest. And you want to know specifically what species are there in those areas. That's your species richness, the number of species as well. That'll be your species richness. How many are they? So in the future, when you go back to do your monitoring or assessment again, after many years, you would know what in your initial assessment you had five. Um, the number of species, like species richness, was just like five. And then after monitoring, after so many years, you go back in and you realize, oh, I have 30. So that tells you that whatever intervention that you put in or strategy has worked, or it's encouraging the situation. And you want to know the different species diversity and their proportion as well in the area. I would try not to go into details that much. Um, so when you have a baseline assessment, it kind of informs you what are the restoration strategies that we should take. I'm very sure that we all have various interventions and restoration strategies that we all taking. So just be brief on this. For example, if you have forest that has wildfires, mining, logging in an area or in a community setting, right, or a community land or property, and then we are looking at restoring these particular areas. What are the options that we could have? We could have a passive restoration or an active restoration. So in terms of, I'll just draw a little bit on the passive restoration, because an active restoration just means that you are going in and then you are trying to help the system because the system is not able to help itself. There is not enough seedlings, seedling bank or seedling rain or any close by forest that will help you to restore the area. So you are basically going in to plant trees. And that's what most of us do, which is okay. So basically that's probably will fall under plantations. But when we come to passive restoration, we want to look at I'll just try to narrow this down to natural regeneration and assisted natural regeneration. Fatin and I talked about it the last time we spoke. And then most people are, taking the path of plantation, which is great. But then it also sometimes limits us in the sense that we do not have the liberty to have as many species as we want, because basically what we're trying to do is to grow a certain species based on how fast it grows, preference and market value and all those things. But it doesn't really give us the leverage to sort of grow species naturally and have indigenous species re-establish itself. So natural regeneration could be an excellent point, but most of the times what happens is that because the area is so degraded, it probably would take so much time for it to happen. Yeah. And then also depends on what is happening around. Are there enough seed banks of seedling rain? Well, there might be or not, but in whatever situation there is, this is probably going to take some time. So people usually will switch to assisting the system. So not necessarily planting or going into plantation, but they're trying to assist the whole process to be like more faster. Yeah, and basically sometimes they go in with interventions. So for example, if you have an invasive species colonizing a specific area, you might want to remove those invasive species. So maybe example, one of your treatments would be weeding, or maybe the place is just colonized by a lot of grasses, and probably might not have time to weed all of them out. So you press them, you step on them so that they lie flat on the ground. And these kind of suppresses them as well and forms a very good mulch with time on the forest floor, and then help the species that you are trying to regenerate. So you're sort of assisting the desired species in the field by suppressing every other undesired species, which might in this case be even invasive. Um, but again, sometimes what we like or desire to restore are not necessarily in the system, or they're probably difficult to regenerate without any intervention. So in that case, what people would normally do is just grow seedlings and transplant it to the site, or go for wildlings in the forest and also transplant it to the site. So that could be enrichment planting. So what you are doing is that you are introducing native trees through planting to establish or enrich those particular forests that you're looking at. So I like to take a brief moment to look into a case study from Yongwe National Park. So in 1997, this area was, was really a cool primary forest, had all these natural conditions going on. I'm careful not to use the word pristine because there's nothing like that currently. Um, that it was pretty in a good shape. But in 1997, during the El Nino years, fire swept through these areas and then took about 12% of the forest cover. But what happened after the fire swept through was that there was this particular invasive species. I'm sure probably most of you are aware of it, bracken fern, Pteridium aculinum, colonized these burnt areas. And just after the fire between 1997 and 2003, these ferns were still thriving. And the tree species that we want were not coming in. So people decided to think of interesting ways to bring back these tree species. So one key thing to know here is that we know what the history used to be like, more like, an intact primary forest, right? A natural forest condition. We know the history. We know what used to be there. This information can also be gotten from local people, um, forest departments, or NGOs, or people that are generally working in those areas. So you know the history. And then you know what happened to sort of disturb the area. Now you go in and collect your baseline assessment. And then again, after some time, you go in to monitor. After collecting your baseline assessment, you go in with your interventions. And after your interventions, you go do your monitoring. And then you can sort of compare and see what used to be there, what is there now, has the intervention worked, not. How is that tree information informing decisions? So what we did is that we went in after 20 years post fire treatment. So what they did was that they removed the bracken fern every 3 months consistently for 3 years. So this was a specific treatment that was applied. So what they did was they created a plot and weeded all through the entire plot. But the weeding was strategic. They were leaving behind the species that they want, the desired species. So if they saw any other invasive, any climber, they just remove those species and keep them out of the site. This was observation to see what happens, just to inform management or decisions. So after 20 years, nearly 20 years, we went into this particular forest reserve. If you are familiar with the African map, you see that Rwanda is one small country somewhere in the eastern part of Africa, somewhere in the middle there. And we went straight into Yongwe National Park, which forms part of the Albertine Rift. We set our plots. And then decide to monitor different forest covers cover types within these particular areas. So the first thing we did was to monitor one, the old growth forest. What used to be there? So we need some sort of comparison to say that this is working or it's not. Because if you have the tree data, you have tree information, and then it's not comparable to anything, it's good information, but then it's not telling the story fully. So you want to be able to tell the story fully, right? So that's why I always say that it is key to take your baseline assessment, because you want to compare in the future. So we took information from the old growth forest, and then we went to the assisted natural regeneration site, where they have sort of enhanced protection, removed barriers, um, such as, for example, preventing wildfires in the area, enhancing protection. This is one key thing about ANR, to enhance protection, whilst you're removing barriers and ensuring that desired species are re-establishing. And then we went to the bracken-friend land, where the Pteridium aquilinum has colonized the fire areas. We also looked into the understory vegetation. What is replacing the forest? What is the forest future? What does that look like currently? So these are all forms of tree data or information that we could collect. And now we went in to see what the results are. And as you can see, it's very interesting how the treated site where the bracken fen was removed has the highest stem density. Remember, we already talked about what your tree data could inform. It could inform you, when you look at your stem density, it could inform you what is happening. So obviously, if you look at the picture on top on the right, you see the ANR stand, at least it's in an early stand exclusion phase. What that means is that these are very tiny poles or trees, right? But there are numerous of them. What is going to happen with time is that most of them are going to die, and then few of them are going to survive, grow, and become larger like the natural forest. As you can see in the primary forest stand below, there are very few trees, but quite larger compared to the picture you see above, right? So this is what the tree data is telling us. It's telling us that the area that we restored has a good future. It's probably going to look more like the natural forest, but we don't know yet. But as it stands now, the stem density is telling us that we have a lot of trees in this area compared to the untreated area, which is the orange box plot. It's telling us that, that is even way different from all the land cover types, right? This place remains undeveloped. The entire place is still covered in fern. Most of the plots is falling on the zero. There are specifically like no trees in those areas compared to the treated areas. So this is tree data that is telling us that a specific strategy is working very well, but at least one of the ways to tell is to use the stem density. Now, when we look at the tree height, we're still looking at the structure. When you look at the tree height, you can still tell that there's no difference between the treated sites and the primary forest. And again, both are very different from the untreated site, which is the bracken fen line. And then again, we try to also look into species, what the number of species that are in the area, the diversity, and the composition of it, right? The proportion of these species. So basically what we found out was that, again, the treated site, it's very comparable to the primary forest. This is the natural forest. There's no statistical differences between them. And again, both of them are different from the bracken fen lands, right? So it's kind of tell us that, and the diversity also tells us the same story. So it kind of tells us that without this particular intervention, which is the assisted natural regeneration, the ANR, these areas would remain undeveloped. In terms of the entire forest structure, in terms of richness and diversity as well. Well, so let's look at what happens in terms of the proportion of the different species in these areas. Let's look at the composition. What happens in the forest, in the treated side, untreated, and then the primary forest. We looked at it in terms of overstory and understory because sometimes it can be very tricky to be looking at tree data as a whole because it's probably will be telling you different stories. So you might want to separate them and look at what is up and what is down, because what is down is telling us what the future would look like. So it's important that we take very good pictures of tree species or tree data and submit our georeferencing and everything. But it will also be interesting to look at the pole-sized trees, what is understory, what is at the seedling stage. It also it gives us another dimension of tree information on what is replacing the forest in the future. Right? So we look at the overstory and we realize that the tree species that were in the composition that were in the primary forest and the treated side are very different. There is no overlap. You see the green circle and the blue circle. There are no overlap. So like they're very, very separate. So that it's telling us that the composition in the primary forest is not the same as the composition in the treated side. Even though these actually look like they were practically like when you look at the pictures, you see a lot of stems, you know, the stem density, like, oh, this is good. This is happening. The treatment is working. Our tree data information is telling us that the forest is recovering. Indeed, it is. But the composition is telling us that this is not the same as the primary forest, right? That is what the overstory composition is telling us. We use generalized linear model for this. And then you go to the understory. The understory is also telling us it's a different story altogether. You can see a lot of overlaps. You see the green, the blue, and the orange, all kind of, even though the orange is just at the edges, not really overlapping very well because that's, you know, the bracken fern land. There's basically nothing there, very few tree species. But the bracken fern is also creating some form of microclimate and providing some form of shade for shade tolerant tree species to survive. So that's why you see the orange a little bit overlapping somewhere here. But that said, most of the overlap is like it's between the assisted natural regeneration side and then the primary forest. There's a lot of overlap between the blue and the green, the green point. What it's telling us is that the understory of the treated side is very much alike or looks quite similar to the primary forest. And in that case, if nothing happens and we continue to enhance protection, these understory is going to, in the future, is going to reflect what the primary forest looks like. But this is not going to happen over a day or two or years. It's going to take some time for this to take effect. Possibly over 100 years for this to take effect. And so, I mean, restoration is great, but when we say something has recovered, it means it needs a bit of time. What people would normally do is that when they realize this is happening and they don't even see the desired species they want, what they would do is they try to enrich the system by introducing localized or indigenous species that are desired, mostly by the people, by the community, or by whatever reason it is, to reintroduce those species back because they're not able to regenerate on their own. And I'll try to look into the proportion of early versus late successional species. What we realized was that both the primary forest and then the treated site has high proportion of early successional species. But that of the primary forest, you know, is fair amount of late successional species and early successional species. So it's quite balanced. Now, when we come to the understory, We come to the understory. So let me go back to the overstory again. You see that I don't know if you see my cursor, but I'm not sure you do. But looking at the ANR in the middle, in the overstory is what I'm looking at right now. You see you have high proportion of early successional species. This is the reason why the composition is not the same from the previous graph that I showed, because they are not really balanced. What is actually taking over, what the tree information is telling us is that what is actually taking over currently from the assessment that we did are tree species that can survive an open area. So they grow very fast. These are pioneer species. So they grow very fast and usurp the growing space. They just take up the space. And very few species that, can do well under shade or under, just a little bit of light can just come in. So you don't find a lot of late successional species. Most early successional species or pioneer species will probably grow, quickly and also die. And then the late successional species will gradually take over the forest. That is when we can say the forest is approaching, recovery stage and getting close to what the natural forest should look like. Now, when it comes to the understory, we see that there's no significant difference between the treated side and then the primary forest side, right? There's no statistical difference. What is happening is that with time, this is telling us that the areas that were treated is going to look more like the natural forest. This is what our tree information is telling us. This is the interpretation, right? But then again, what is most interesting is that when you look at both overstory and understory, the brackin-friend lands still remains unchanged, almost practically the same. This is nearly after like 20 years. After 20 years, the area still looks the same from the baseline assessment to the current assessment that we're doing. It practically still remains the same, right? So this is telling, our tree information is still telling us that this particular treatment is very effective in some sense. And then I probably would brush over this a little bit, but this is also very key. You would want to know what kind of species are emerging in those areas. So you look at your composition in terms of overstory and understory. Most times people will collect data on the overstory. It tells a story, but I would always say it's not the full story. So we see the overstory is dominated by one particular species called Macaranga kilimanjarica. It's in the overstory. So this is a pioneer species, right? It just takes over, dominates everywhere. But when you look at the untreated side, the UNR, it forms like 80% of the species in that area. Basically, it's just enjoying the sunlight and the open space. But then one interesting thing is that when you go to the understory, even within the understory of the untreated side, Macaranga still dominates, right? And so again, this is telling us that without specific treatments in some areas don't usually need treatments. They would regenerate naturally and you have your species back. But others will not, especially areas that has been colonized by invasives. So there has to be an active form of treatment. And then one other interesting thing is that in the understory, we'll see certain kind of species that are emerging. Maybe you might not know this species, but I'm sure if you are from East Africa, you probably would know it. Sericostakis. It's sometimes considered as an invasive species because it would kind of usurp the entire area and suppress every form of seedlings to grow. So what this is telling us is that if you have a tree data that is giving you an information in the understory, it's going to tell you that, oh, if you see this particular species in your understory, it's telling you to take a certain direction, take a certain management direction or intervention, because if you don't, it's going to take over the entire space. And what you want will actually not happen. So it's not enough seeing trees in the overstory and take that tree data and take those photos. It's not enough. You want to go deep down and see what is in the understory. Perhaps you might find some species that needs to be removed, that needs to go out, because if you are not even aware of them, they're not going to render your entire restoration project successful over time. And that's what we want to have. We want to have success over time. Yeah, so just a brief conclusion on how tree data informs land use planning, and then also collaboration. So basically, if you have collected your tree data, your baseline data, baseline assessment and everything, it's able to give you some key information. You're able to determine where the degraded areas are, right? Because from the case study I showed you, you can tell where the degraded areas are based on the land cover types. We are not classifying all of them as one. And then you're able to determine areas that require interventions, right? So sometimes some areas don't actually require any intervention, because you can assess the area with like, oh, there's this nearby forest. There are a lot of wildlife here, monkeys, birds, they are going in and out with seeds and dispersing seeds all over. So this place is going to regenerate by itself. We also assess, and there are no invasives here, so there's no colonization. This is going to be great. Let's leave the system. Assisted natural regeneration would take place. Other areas will go like, oh, some species are struggling, there's not enough. Okay, let's go in and intervene. And then, so you are sort of able to determine areas that you should prioritize, right? And this is a key information, because if you are not able to determine areas for prioritization, it is often becomes even more difficult to request for funding or collaborate with anyone, because then what are you looking at? What is the problem? What is the problem? What is the area? What should we focus on? Where should we channel our resources to? So we should be able to determine where the prioritized areas should be based on our tree data information. And then again, we're able to go back and evaluate treatment effectiveness. And then one other thing is that, I like science policy, right? Transforming science into actionable, anything actionable. For example, if you go in and do your assessment, like we have already talked about from Yongbe, if you go in and do your assessment, it's directly informing you exactly what to do. But if you don't do any assessment, you just go and look at an area, it's like, oh, what do I want to do here? Okay, I think I want to plant this. I think so. Everything will just be based on what you might want to see. It's okay to have what you might want to see, but it's also interesting to restore an area in a sense that it mimics how it used to be naturally. We might not get it 100%, but at least we can get closer, right? So it helps you to adapt management based on monitoring results. You transform your tree data into action because it's actually backed by science, it's backed by assessment, real results, and it's informing what you should do in a specific place. And then you're able to track species recovery. This is very essential because, you are able to tell what species used to be there, what has come in, what is no more here, what should we prioritize. There are some species that are of global concerns, local concerns. Some species are going on local extinction or functional extinction. So you might want to keep all these species in. Your tree data will tell you what was here, what was not here, and what has come in. Is it invasive or not? Is it a species of high conservation concerns? We might want to prioritize that. So, it sort of tell you what your prioritization should look like. And when you are able to prioritize things, sometimes it becomes more easier for you to collaborate with your local organization, with NGOs, with philanthropists, because you're able to make a very good case study. You're able to make a very good judgment of the situation and say, it's not just about restoring this area, but the information I have already is telling me that this particular species used to be here and it's no more here, and it deserves this amount of attention. And here is what we're going to need to restore these particular species. So you can go in and talk about what your restoration strategies or interventions would look like, because then you are very well informed, you're very specific. If you are looking into budgeting and collaborating with your local governments or agencies or philanthropies, you know exactly what you're talking about and you know exactly what you're looking for. So thank you for your attention, and I look forward to having an interesting conversation with all of you.
Right. Thank you so much, Angelina. That is super, super insightful, and also looking at the scientific side of things as well. And this is also my first time learning about ANR. So I'm like super, super interested because like you mentioned, we always try to add, things that are missing instead of like suppressing the things that are disturbing the whole thing. So yeah, we are actually already at the end of the call. But if you have any other questions to Angelina, I think maybe Angelina, you can drop your email for those who are interested to, discuss more regarding this very specific topic. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I really, really appreciate all of you being here and, looking at our new platform and also listening to Angelina's talk today. And we will send you the link to GainForest.app in the group. And this is also recorded, so those who cannot come or would like to listen back to what we have demoed and also Angelina's presentation, we can also send that online. Cool. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you so much, Angelina. Super, super insightful. And thank you, everybody. Yes.
Thank you
Yay.
for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, Fatin.